Hello and welcome to another episode of So Fly. It's September 1st, and this episode's coming out September 1st because we're up in Elk Lake Wilderness Resort in Elk Lake, Ontario, northeastern Ontario. My name is Mitch. We've got Yilma.
Hey, everybody.
We've got Aldo.
Hi.
And we've got one of the owners of Elk Lake Wilderness Resort, Roger, joining us. Roger, how's it going?
Fantastic. Welcome aboard, boys.
Whoa, sweet radio voice.
Oh, my God.
So
Maybe
good.
one of the best radio voices we've had.
Yeah.
So we came down here this weekend. Like I said, it's September 1st, and the show's coming out today. This is the first time I think we've actually ever recorded a show and put it out the same, like within hours.
Whoa.
So there's no editing.
There's no editing. This is a live, basically uncut Elk Lake Wilderness Resort #2 podcast because we were here last year.
Yes, you were.
We were here in June. Thanks for having us twice.
It's absolutely pleasure.
No, the pleasure's all ours.
The pleasure is all ours.
Yeah,
This place
absolutely.
is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's the August. It's a Labor Day long
September
weekend.
Labor
It's
Day.
a Labor Day weekend.
Labor
I don't think
Day.
I've ever lived through a Labor Day that was partly in August. Is that weird? Is that a weird thing to say?
No, Labor Day's always in August, isn't it?
That was always in September. I always was like Labor Day and then school starts.
It's like a little bit of both. Yeah, school
Yeah.
starts. Yeah, school
Yeah.
starts for all the
Unless
kids.
you're from the north.
Unless you're from the north.
And then the French schools, they've started last week.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
crazy.
We came down here last year, although let's just give a quick refresh about how we got to this. How did we find this amazing, incredible place and these really amazing, incredible people? Because it's Roger and it's Mary Jo who's standing here next to us and Andy
Building a
Vanderkay.
fire.
Building a fire, taking
Mary Jo.
pictures.
And Andy Vanderkay is here, our photographer.
It's just like
Good friend.
we're sitting under the pavilion here, and it's amazing. There's a sauna and a hot tub next to us. We're at a picnic table. It's a beautiful night. You can hear like the crickets and the music in the background of people hanging out and having a good time. It's a special place. How did we find this place?
Well, it was, I don't know, serendipitous. Is that the right word?
It was definitely
that's,
weird.
That's the word.
Yeah, it was definitely weird. It was weird, yeah. Yeah, I was tending bar at Pretty Ugly, amazing cocktail bar in West End of Toronto. One of your favorites, eh, Mitch?
It's such a good place.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great place. Yilma, too, he used to come
Oh.
there a bunch.
Love it.
And I think it was like a Sunday. I don't think it was like a...
No, that
it
sounds about right.
Yeah, it wasn't like Friday night or whatever.
Nope.
And Roger and Mary Jo sat down at my bar. Of course, I didn't know who they were at the time. We started chit-chatting, I usually, what brings you in, or, the usual opening convo.
Mhm.
And it was like, oh, this, oh, that, oh, cool. And then it was like, where are you from? And they're like, oh, you wouldn't know. And I'm like, I don't know, try me. And they're like, Elk Lake. And I was like, oh, maybe I don't know. They're like, have you heard of Temiskaming? I was like, oh, I have, yeah, Temiskaming Shores. And I was like, what do you do? And they're like, we own a fishing lodge. And I was like, what? And they're like, how do you know about Temiskaming? I'm like, well, I fish. And then one thing led to another, and next thing we know, we were up here in last June, and
It's
we had
crazy.
such a great time.
Oh, yeah.
And you guys are such great hosts.
Well, and what
and-
goes better, fishing and booze?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
man.
Right, that's
Nothing's
perfect.
Better, yeah.
It is. It's a total...
It's a good icebreaker.
The introduction to the whole thing makes a ton of sense, yeah.
So we came up here kind of on a whim and huge leap of faith on your behalf, Roger.
Oh, yeah, you had no idea who the hell we were.
I was like, I don't know.
Like, oh, yeah.
We take pictures for Instagram, and then
Yeah, exactly.
and then we came up here and we had a blast. Fished. I think that's what's so. I mean, we talked about it in the last podcast, but what's so cool about coming up here is that you can have such whatever experience you want. You can have it. You can, in terms of fishing. Oh, you want to fish for trout? Boom. You want to fish for bass, Yilma?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, you can do that. You can do that here at the resort. Or you can go to a back lake. That's the thing. You've got access right at the resort, or you can do some exploring and find be really alone really fast.
Yeah.
And we found that out last year, and it actually made for, I think last year like in total, we all of us said like conclusively like, wow, that was a good trip, man. Elk Lake Wilderness Resort was a great memory. At the end of the year, we just thought back to it. We're like, that place was really special because it was the first day we fished splake on a lake, and we had none of us had caught splake, and we all caught a ton of splake on the fly. And it was a really cool day because we had all kinds of weather. And we were in those John boats. You have some John boats you hooked us up with, 3.5 Evinrude motors, just right in the back lakes. And we caught a ton of fish we'd never caught before. And then we fished another lake for bass. We caught pike. And it rained that day, too. And we fished an island. And we have a ton of pictures from that. It was a great memory. It was like one of the best trips we did last year, 100%. It was just an amazing memory. So it was like, wow, I can't believe, A, that this place exists, 5-6 hours north of Toronto. And that we got to enjoy it and like experience it, from this crazy connection. Like, what are the odds of something like that happening? It's so amazing. And then come back this year to do it again.
Well, I think you missed the most amazing part for us.
Oh, what's that?
You guys showed up and did that whole community event.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, the community
Oh,
event.
yeah.
Oh, my
Totally
God.
forgot
In
about
the
that.
pavilion, we're
pavilion.
recording this podcast in right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was one of the better events we did that year too, because you guys had a ton of people come out.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, the amazing thing is, like, nobody up here really fly fishes.
Right.
And so you guys come out, you bring your fly gear, Drift supplies all the stuff for you, and you come out and teach people how to fly fish.
Yeah.
You guys had a kid that's 7 years old and a guy 70,
Yeah, I remember
both
that.
learning how to fly
Yeah.
fish at the same time. And it was so easy.
And into it,
Oh, totally.
jazzed
yeah.
about it.
It was great.
Yeah.
I think that was a really cool moment for us too, which was like, people were, we showed up, we had the bee casting. What was his name again?
Blake Ranke.
Yeah, so he was great. And then we come on and we have a bunch of people looking at us like, what, fly fishing? And then you start talking about it and showing people that you can catch, pike on the fly and stuff. And I think there was a father and a daughter, and we were showing pictures of our friend Chloe, who's like catches muskie on the fly. And she's like, oh, I want to do that. And her dad was like, I've been trying to get her to fish for years. And all it took was
exactly.
one picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I was a little intimidated when we came to that event. I was like, wow, these are a lot of like Northern Ontario people who bait cast. We had Blake there, spin fishermen, and we were a bunch of city dudes, fly guys from Toronto. People are probably like, what is this? What are these clowns doing up here? But then I was pleasantly surprised when people were like genuinely interested. And we were teaching casting, and we had for a good hour after we did the whole like presentation, people were like asking us questions.
Well, if
Yeah.
you've never done it, you watch it, and it's intimidating. It looks like it should be so complicated, and yet you guys made it so easy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the
Exactly.
big things is I think we find at events, and we found last year certainly it's easier than it looks, and we try to make it look easier than it looks.
Demystifying fly fishing.
Right? Absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what you did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, I think just embracing that we all grew up in Ontario and it's not Montana, and we fish for bass and pike here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do it on the fly rod.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's the misconception, right? Like you see fly fishing, and anything you ever see, they're fishing for trout or some variation of trout.
Yeah.
And you never see fishing for bass or pike.
No.
Ever.
We have
No.
Texas rigs, man. We have little soft, material that looks just like it's been Texas rigged up.
I mean, it's the funniest thing because you'll have people that listen to this podcast that are like, oh, that's not really fly fishing. It's like, I 100% sympathize with you, and I kind of
Yeah,
agree.
kind of agree.
But then you'll have guys that are like, honestly, dude, squirmy worm under a bobber. Like, it's glorified like worm and bobber fishing.
It
And
is.
we'll do it sometimes because we're not above that. And it works really well. But it's funny because we spend like thousands of dollars to just fish a worm or bobber in like this way. But no, I know. There's all these different levels of it, fly fishing, and you can kind of make it what you want. But it was cool to be able to tell people that at that event and
I
show
had that
them.
7-year-old kid follow me around. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
Mitch. And he was just so excited,
Yeah.
And, and to Mitch's point, I was totally intimidated too. Like everybody here who was, spin fishing and bait casting, and then they're like, wait a minute, can you show me that cast again?
Yeah.
Aldo, can you show me that cast again?
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Do you guys do those community events still?
We do. It's a little tougher. We're getting a little bit busier.
Yep.
And so we've scaled it back a little bit, but we do a charity breakfast and try to give back to the community as much as we can.
Which charity is that?
We pick one every year. So we've
Oh,
done
cool.
we've done Ronald McDonald House and some of the local charities. So we just pick one. We ask the local people in town, like, if you had problems and family issues and, what charity did you utilize the most? And that's what we throw some money at every year.
Nice.
I mean, I think it's pretty fair to say you guys are a pretty big part of the community up in Huck Lake now.
Yeah, they've been incredibly inviting to us. Probably the biggest charity we donate to is the local 288, the Hamilton Professional Firefighters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we donate a full service trip for them every year.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
This might be a good segue.
Absolutely.
Roger, who are you? What did you used to do?
That's a great.
Who are you? What did you used to do? And what brought you to buy the resort, the lodge?
Well, I started as a firefighter and got promoted up to fire chief at the Hamilton Airport,
Whoa.
and then left there. We bought a business. We sold half the business and didn't really know what to do with ourselves.
What was the business?
The business we sold was a manure spreading business.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was trying to stay away from that.
I know you were. I can see it in your
Thanks,
face.
Mitch. I'm glad you
He's
brought
like,
that
don't.
up.
He's like, don't ask me. Don't ask.
Yeah.
Don't.
Oh yeah, here it comes. Here it comes.
I can
Yeah.
see it in your face, man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I gotta ask.
You got to ask, right?
I think it's an awesome
Yeah.
business, man. That's cool.
Yeah, that's perfect. So yeah, we sold that. We kept the snow plowing business, and the only thing that fit with that was a fishing lodge. So we looked for a couple of years, looked at a bunch, and we ended up here.
Nice.
How did you guys find the place? Like, what were you looking for when you were looking for a lodge?
Well, Mary Jo and I wanted something that was seasonal. That was the intention. May to September kind of thing. That gave us lots of time to focus on the snow removal business.
Yeah.
And our real estate agent, who was obviously much smarter than us, was like, that's not really what you want. You know, you want an investment. You don't want to buy yourself a job. You want something you can grow. We're both change junkies. Like, we like to get our hands on stuff and build it and move forward. That's what we like to do.
Right.
And that's what this was. So Mary Jo was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So we did.
So other than the finances, though, like what is so special about Elk Lake? Like what gravitated you and Mary Jo towards this place?
Well, we didn't know anything about Elk Lake. Like, I used to hunt up here years ago. So we didn't know much about the area per se as far as the town or whatever. It was just a business opportunity. So you have no idea how happy we are. We ended up in Elk Lake. Like, the community has been absolutely fantastic with us. Like, the local guys are all like, oh, yeah, have you taken your guys to this lake? Have you taken them to that lake?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. They know what we're about, like, you know, protecting the resources. Most of our stuff is catch and release. So they're not afraid to share the information. It's great.
So the town itself and the people in the town are nice, special people.
They've been awesome with us, yeah.
Yeah. And finding all those back lakes, too, has been a big thing.
Yes.
Yeah. When did you purchase the lodge?
5 years ago. This
5
is our
years.
5th summer.
5th summer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Over the last year, like, because we were here a year ago, what else is new over the last year?
We're really focusing on our snowmobile business for the winter. We've hired a local guide. We've added the sauna and the hot tub.
Yeah.
We've got.
Sauna's right beside us.
It is. It's right.
new.
It's infrared.
Looks
Mary
amazing.
Jo likes to have some essential oils in there so you can scent her all up.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Awesome.
It's pretty sweet. Like, we're in this little, like, from the picture, like, yeah, we're like covered. There's market lighting over us. It's very quaint. There's wood surrounding us. I could see, like, how awesome it would be if you were hitting snowmobile trails all day and then you come to this little oasis.
Oh yeah,
And-
it is an oasis. There's a little
Bird's
nest
There's a little
right
bird's
above
nest right there.
on
That's
the
pretty cute.
So it's just barn board and just white.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
It
Could you
is.
imagine? I'm picturing that, like, a sparkly, snowy day, you know, and you just, like, spent all day cutting trails. You come in here.
I'm
You
getting teary-eyed.
you get in the hot tub. You get in the sauna. You smoke a cigar. Hey, Mitch is smoking a cigar
I'm
right
smoking
now.
a cigar right now.
Yeah.
It's great.
Oh,
I've
it'd
never
be
smoked
beautiful.
a cigar while recording a podcast.
There you go.
It's the best.
It's the best.
I was looking forward to it today. I was telling Yum when we were on the boat. I'm like, I'm going to smoke a cigar when we record.
Yeah.
And Yum was like, whatever, man. That's cool. I'm like, what the heck, man? You got to, like, say that's cool, man. Like, that's great. And he's like, yeah, it's great. I'm like, it's awesome, man.
So I mean, like, wow. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool right now, but yeah, it's pretty cool to hop in a sauna. And then I guess what do people do? When they snowmobile, they start somewhere, they end up here for lunch, and then move on to where they started. Or?
Yeah, we get a little bit of everything. We get some people that want to spend a 3-day trip, so they'll come up and do 3 one-day trips out of here. You know, they'll go to Lisker, then Kirkland, then Timmins.
Okay.
So many trails, eh?
Yeah, there's tons of trails, tons of trails. But the best part about the whole experience is Mary Jo's cooking.
Amazing
Yeah.
cooking.
Most people go into a food coma right after.
We're all
they've
looking
eaten.
at Mary Jo right
I'm
now.
still
She's
in a
like,
coma.
Ah, come on.
Yeah.
It is. It's
It's
definitely
delicious.
food coma. You come in, you eat, and that's it. You're done for the night.
Yeah.
So people know, listen to the podcast, if you come up here, you can get a plan that covers your food for the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. We've got the 3 packages in the summer: the housekeeping, the modified plan where you get just your supper, or then you get the full plan where you get, you know, all your meals, the whole enchilada, the boats. You know, that's the other thing
Oh,
we
the
invested.
boats.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
we-
invested heavily in
Guys,
boats.
it's so worth it. It's
Listen,
such a good trip.
I'm cool to talk about, you know, the snowmobiling, but can you chat about those boats, because I'm still blown away by how premium those boats are here.
Yeah, I would say, and it's not boasting. I think we've probably got one of the nicest rental fleets of
Jesus
boats,
Christ.
probably just about anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet. You can have, like, John boats. You can have, like, full. I guess what were we on today? I don't know how to classify boats.
You're in
there were bass
Yeah,
boats,
they're
but
bass boats, but I
yeah.
don't know.
yeah, you're in a
like
16 or 16 and a half foot lawn side console, brand new Bluetooth stereo, automatic
yeah,
drive.
Mitch,
Yeah.
Mitch was bumping some tunes.
Yeah, we were.
Oh, yeah.
We were Bluetooth and music
Yeah.
on my phone.
The first song he puts on was like "Disarm" from Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Hey, nothing wrong with that. That's
Hey,
a good
no,
choice.
I
It's a
love
good
it. I
song. It's
love
a good
it.
song.
I think that the boats are awesome and fishing out of those. We don't get to do it that often, but fly fishing out of Lunds, like nice,
Yeah.
like casting platforms and stuff, it makes a huge difference on the
Huge
Montreal
difference.
River. It's so nice.
Yeah, I know a bass boat designer wasn't thinking of fly anglers when they designed it,
but it
but
worked.
but it's sick.
Yeah.
Like the front casting platform, you don't get tangled on anything.
Anything.
No, when
Yeah.
you think about it, it's not
Yeah.
a lot different than using a bait caster,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
you,
that's
you,
true.
You need
Yeah.
the space,
Yeah,
so
that's a good
that's
point.
what they built into these boats.
Yeah.
They're perfect.
Absolutely.
They are perfect.
I want to talk about all this stuff, and I want to do it by jumping back to the whole reason we came down to Elk Lake
Oh, right on.
in September. But before we do that, I want to talk about Drift Outfitters in Toronto. But this is going to be just live recorded because, like I said, it's September 1st. The show's coming up September 1st. So we're just going to, Aldo and I are just going to look at each other and talk about Drift Outfitters in Toronto. Aldo, come on, baby. Hit me up.
You know, Drift Outfitters is kind of like Drift Outfitters and Fly Shop. They're a full-service fly shop in downtown Toronto on the east end of Toronto, Queen Street East. But they service all of Canada, actually. They ship countrywide, and Roger, you've ordered
They ship
stuff.
to Elk Lake.
Yeah, they ship to Elk Lake.
Yeah.
Any gear you can find on their website. They have an awesome website. If you go to driftoutfitters.com, you can go to their web store from there. You can order anything that they have in store, except for flies. But if you call them, they'll put together your little fly selection. But the only thing that's not on their web store are the flies. But you can always call them. They ship countrywide. They're open 6 days a week. They're big supporters of ours, and Rob's a great guy who runs the store, and Chris, who manages the shop, is great as well. They do educational programs. If you want to learn how to tie flies, if you want to learn how to cast, just cast, even a tune-up. Say you got a big trip coming up down south, and you can't remember, or you need a little bit of work to cast the flats. You can do that with them down there, or you can actually do on the water fly fishing education, which is really cool. That was new this year. So yeah, the full stop shop. They're the real deal.
I think the thing that surprised me is once you guys did your demonstration, we had guys wanted fly rods. Well, I have no idea what to order. So I phoned down to talk to Rob, and I got Chris.
Yeah.
And he steered me in the right direction. We ordered the appropriate rods for the people, shipped them up. They got the right stuff at the right price.
Yeah.
And a couple of guys have phoned down and said, like, how do I use this? Like, I bought it, but yeah. So Drift completely set them up on the phone and told them how to use this stuff. It's great.
And we wanted to give them a shout out because that's the thing is, I think the thing we're realizing more and more as we do SoFly and this type of stuff is the biggest thing that makes these trips and the fishing and everything amazing is the people. You guys are amazing. Like, honestly, you make Elk Lake Wilderness Resort a special place. Drift Outfitters is the same thing. Rob and Chris and the guys out at the shop are special people. You go there and it's not just like, this is on sale, blah, blah, blah. Like, they genuinely want to talk to you about fishing and like, what do you want to fish for? And they're most passionate people I've ever met about fly fishing.
Yeah.
And I think what's cool and is that they can cater, because there are so many traveling anglers in Toronto, that they know what it's like to fish in Northern Ontario, the flats in the south, redfish, Texas, Louisiana, whatever you need to fish for, you can find it there. It's not just Ontario specific.
Check them out in Toronto, Queen Street East. Give them a Google, Drift Outfitters Fly Shop. Hit 'em up.
Driftoutfitters.com.
You'll be happy you did.
Yeah.
Let's jump back. Why did we come to Elk Lake Wilderness Resort this weekend, Although? Come on, what was the reason? Other than seeing these lovely people and coming to the most amazing place and being lucky to do it,
Well,
what were we looking for?
it's a really unique thing in this part of Ontario, and it's the Aurora trout. And the Aurora trout, super interesting. It can only be found in this little pocket of Ontario on Earth, the planet.
Literally, only place in the world.
Literally, only place in the world.
That's
It could be
insane.
universe. We're
Could
not
be universe.
decided.
It could
but
be-
it could be universe.
It could be.
Unconfirmed. Andy's going to Mars, so
We're gonna see.
So we're gonna see on Mars anyway. But the Aurora trout are a unique species of trout found in lakes up here in the the Temiskaming, Temagami.
That's probably a good way to describe it. Yeah.
Region. Threatened by extinction due to acid rain.
I believe it was acid rain.
Yeah.
From the mining.
From the
operations.
Yeah.
And then once the ministry realized,
Quick little note. That's the same thing on our podcast with Les Stroud. He talked about that in Temagami as well. Because the acid rain was just like
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
basically like blanching all the water and making it super clear.
Yeah.
And he put it was freakishly beautiful because it was like freakishly.
Oh, because there's no algae, no
It just
Killed
the
everything.
acid rain
Wow.
just
Everything,
killed
yeah.
it all.
Wow.
And it
wow.
made it looked like almost the Gas Bay rivers where you just see from top to bottom clear as a nail and
Clear as a
Tomogamy-
nail.
I'm gonna start making expressions. Clear as a nail is gonna be the first one. It's like Yilma this weekend when he was with the dogs. You guys got a bunch of bull mastiffs, and Yilma was on all fours, and he said, "I'm having a doggy good time."
Doggy
Right,
good
Yilma?
time.
That's good, right?
You're not living that one down ever.
No. I'll see you in 20 years, and hey, remember that story? Remember that
Doggy
one
good time.
But the Tomogamy was the same thing. It was the acid rain just wiped it out, and they had a huge effect on the Auroras, which are this very specific type of trout that only exists up here, and very fragile, extremely fragile.
So the ministry realized that their population was in decline. They realized there was such a special fish, so they shut down fishing. Was one of the first things they did. I believe there are 2 lakes still that you cannot fish because
That's
that still
correct.
has the wild populations, and
Yeah.
that's Whirligig and
White pine, I
White
believe
pine.
it is.
and
The 2 original lakes.
And-
Yes.
yeah.
And by original, we mean in 1923. It was a couple guys down from
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah.
who were fishing with a fellow from Latchford,
It's a
Ontario.
really interesting history of this trout.
crazy
A
history.
couple guys from Pittsburgh meet a guy in Latchford and come up here. They catch a trout that they've never seen before. It kind of looks like a brookie, but it's not a brookie.
Right.
But what'd they call it?
They didn't.
They didn't know. at
They
the
didn't know
time.
what to call it. They're
yeah,
like,
but they were like,
But they took a specimen back to Pittsburgh, and they did a test with some scientist
yeah, that's right. That's
man.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And they were like, it's really close genetically to a brook trout, but it's not a brook trout. And they called it the Yilma.
Ghost trout.
Well, Aurora trout, but yeah.
But yeah, no, but didn't they call it ghost trout first?
I'm pretty sure that was
no,
like a First Peoples. I'm pretty sure
yeah, it's
they
an
had-
indigenous name.
Yeah, a name. It was like in the language it translated to ghost trout because they're such an elusive
Fish.
type of fish.
So
yeah.
these guys called it the
The
Aurora
Aurora.
trout.
they called it Auroras.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's who did- that-
originally ghost, the
Well,
the-
the
the
Yeah, I mean,
Indigenous.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, the mainstream name they made it Aurora trout, and I think it's
okay.
obviously because
they were inspired by the colors of the fish.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because
the
of-
Aurora borealis.
It looks like a brookie, but with no spots. So it's just like a pest. Like if you can imagine, like the greens and the reds of the Aurora.
Incredible orange and from the bottom and reds right into
Yeah.
the side. It's crazy color.
Yeah, it's a crazy color.
Crazy color.
Yeah.
So because of the pressure and because of the, the almost extinct nature of the fish, currently you can only fish for the Aurora once every 3 years.
Yeah.
And this is an Aurora year.
Well, let's clarify just a little bit because I had this
Yes.
brought to me.
What?
You can fish for them every year,
Oh.
but each lake is only every 3 years.
Oh.
So every year there's a fishing
different lake.
opportunity
On a different
on
lake.
a different lake.
So
Oh.
Oh, I'm
that's-
sorry. I'm
that's-
sorry.
Yeah, we
Well,
don't want to
that's-
steer anybody.
Well, that's a whole other thing because you talked to the CO up here, and he was telling you really like, oh, it's kind of a weird. The regulations are a little bit muddy. Like people don't totally understand the regulations, right?
Yeah, and yeah, the whole thing is complicated.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's catch and release, catch one only, but
Right.
we'll let people read the regs for
Yeah.
what they are and let
Yeah.
Yeah.
them figure it out.
Yeah.
But as
And
far as we can interpret them, you can catch and release as many as you.
as many
as many as you want.
Yeah.
But if you decide to keep one, or should you perchance kill one,
It's yours.
it's yours,
And you're done.
And you're done.
You're done.
You're done.
Yeah,
You can't fish anymore that day.
because every once in a while, unfortunately, when you're catching and release, you do,
Especially with these fish, which have been described by everybody we've met as like
Very
exceptionally
fragile.
Super
exceptionally fragile.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And we had firsthand knowledge from this because we went to the M&R fish hatchery and talked to Davis,
Great kid.
amazing kid.
Shout out to Davis. Great.
Davis,
You're the
you're
man.
you're an amazing tour guide. Davis, we showed up at the fish hatchery. Roger and Mary told us to check it out.
Yeah.
because you guys went a few days before us.
Exactly. And we found the same thing. Davis was awesome.
Yeah. Hills Lake,
Fish culture station.
Fish Culture Station.
It's a crazy awesome
It's so cool
facility.
because they don't just have auroras, but
No.
they don't just raise auroras. They raise lake.
The coolest thing was the Nipigon brook trout. Right? I was
Yeah.
like, what the heck? You
They have
got Nipigon
Yeah.
They have Hills Lake brookies, Nipigon brookies, and I've never seen lake trout like they lake trout from northern lakes before. What was the strain? I'll never remember.
I don't remember. They did that cross too. The
Yeah,
brook
they did
trout
they
cross of some kind, which was
And they raised Blake
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah. The Lakers had fins like they had like just like brookies, you know, like they had like the
It never-
white tip, and
Yeah.
it was incredible.
And really orange.
Beautiful
Yeah,
fish.
very
Really
Right.
orange
Yeah.
fins on the on
Yeah.
the Lakers. Like
I'll tell you, like those people there, Davis especially, so much love for those fish. Like really cares about the fish,
Yeah,
passionate about them, and he showed us. We showed up, and first he took us through all of the different stages of, here's how we do what we do. Here are some, fry, I guess, staged Aurora trout. And that was the first time we saw an Aurora trout in any kind of form. We're like, whoa, this is crazy. And then he took us to the bigger tanks, I guess, he called them the tracks, like the race tracks or whatever.
yeah.
raceways. That's
The
what he called
raceways,
it,
yeah,
Raceways,
the raceways, where they had bigger fish, and he took an Aurora trout, and I was like, whoa.
Like a big Aurora trout.
big Aurora.
Yeah, like 2 pound.
And I was
Aurora,
like,
yeah.
that is, and the way he handled everything, like, they love this, they love these fish.
yeah.
And they're
He-
beautiful fish.
He cares about those fish
He does.
Yeah.
a lot.
He does. A lot.
Yeah, a lot.
It's a lot of
And his
work
job,
into
he's
it.
so chronologically in our trip, we drove up the Thursday night before, and then the first thing we did on Friday, aside from talk to Roger, was go to the hatchery.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was like the first thing we did on the trip, and it was just like, boom, here's your
Yeah.
Aurora, boom, here's
Yeah.
your Nipigon brook trout, boom, here's a 10-pound lake trout.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It
Just
was crazy.
I've never been to a hatchery before.
Well,
Me
now
neither.
they're
For
not.
me. Yeah.
No way.
And I think the thing that surprised me was the ease. You drive up, they
Yeah.
come out, and they go, "Hey, do you want a tour?" Yeah, perfect. Let's go.
They're happy
was-
to do
that
it.
was
Oh,
it.
yeah, they're happy. They want to
Excited to do it.
give you the knowledge. You know, they want to make sure that you conserve just as much as they do. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
It was clear that like education was
absolutely.
the key to moving forward, right?
So
I
we
think-
need another shout out to the Hills Lake Fish Culture Station
Oh,
and
big time.
Davis.
And Davis
And
for
Davis,
sure.
yeah.
I think the big thing is just like that idea of M&R and like stocking and stuff like that being such a unattainable, unapproachable sort of thing maybe in a lot of anglers' minds. But when you get there and you see the people that are doing it, they're just they're regular people that are just as invested as anglers all across Ontario, and they care just as much. Like it's not like this crazy laboratory. It's like these people are just as genuine as the guys that are fishing.
So knowledgeable.
Yeah, so it's
Like
cool.
Andy was saying, speaking Latin. You know, just describing the fish by saying lake trout.
Yeah,
He
I
knew
know.
all the
They just-
Latin names for the fish.
Yeah,
He knew
It's
everything.
incredible.
Yeah, it was cool. It was really cool, and it was the first time we saw an Aurora, and it was like, this is great. I really
I
hope
was like,
we are
well,
able
they
to catch
do
one.
exist.
They exist. They're a real thing. Let's go try to catch one.
They're not
Let's see if
ghost
we can
fish.
get one in the wild. I mean, it was great to see one in the hatchery, but it was like then it got us even more excited to try to catch one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the it's actually one interesting thing to note is that they actually, I mean, to raise the hatchery fish, they net fish in the wild lakes
Yeah.
to get their eggs
Mhm.
and sperm, and then they hatch them in the hatchery with, I guess, you could technically say wild fish eggs, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if that's a common practice, but I was like surprised. I was like, oh, neat.
At least for the Auroras, right?
Yeah, at least for the Auroras. Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, because the populations in the other lakes that aren't whirligig and white pine,
Yeah.
are stocked
Yeah.
because they have to be because we're
Yeah.
almost gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the fish stocking brought them back.
yeah, which is cool.
So that afternoon, we left the fish hatchery, and where did we head to, Yelma?
We had to.
Deep into the woods,
oh my
baby.
God. What's with my?
Yeah, we had to.
We headed to. Hey guys, we headed to Lake 57
yeah.
to fish for that elusive fish.
Lake 57, Roger. Where's Lake 57 for people that don't know? I mean, it's pretty deep in the woods.
It's pretty deep in the woods.
Yeah.
It's relatively easily accessed, as you know.
Yeah.
But it's in the Timmins district for the MNR. So we left, the Temagami or Temiskaming district, drove into the Timmins district.
It was about an hour and a half from here.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It was a nice. It's an easy drive, but
Beautiful drive.
Beautiful
really
drive.
Saw a bear,
Whoa, we
Yeah.
saw 2 foxes. We saw a bear.
Yeah.
which Yilma did not get a picture
Yeah,
of.
what was with that, man? Come on.
You know,
You had one job, man. You're in the front car, you had a camera. What's going on?
Let's just keep that
It's just-
camera right by our feet. So we, yeah, good idea.
Yeah, we saw, I mean, the first night when we were driving back, we saw those 2 foxes sitting on that sand berm, and they were just looking at us. and they didn't move. They didn't care, and they were like pretty grown foxes.
They're
They were.
beautiful.
They were
They were
chilling.
really nice.
They're like, "Well, guys,
Beautiful.
come back,
They
come
were just
back."
watching us, and then we stopped, and then we started backing up. And as we backed up, there, oh no, screw this! And took
Yeah,
off in the woods.
you took too long, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and you guys saw the bald eagle?
yeah.
Yeah.
Saw
we
golden.
We saw a
today.
golden eagle today.
Yeah, we did. We saw a golden eagle. Yeah, we saw a golden eagle today.
Where'd you see
crazy.
that? Down the river?
No, at Hubert Lake.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like, they're
Yeah.
huge.
They're beautiful.
Huge. The
Yeah, they are
wingspan's
beautiful.
insane on those things.
Yeah.
Saw a bald today too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Real close up to a bald, actually.
Yeah.
Right over our
Flew
heads.
right
Yeah.
over us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
pretty rad.
Yeah.
So, Yoma,
Yeah.
Lake 57.
Lake
For-
57.
we get there's a big sign. So, welcome. There's a Aurora trout here.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, yeah, guys, yeah, it exists. Come on. And there's a nice path to the, man, that lake, well, it's a small lake, but it was pristine. Like
It's
you
beautiful.
just want to go swimming in it. It's clear. It is like a tealy, greenish, vibrant, quiet lake, so much food.
So much food.
So
much
many
food.
bait fish swimming.
Yeah.
around.
Oh my God. It was incredible. Yeah, and I couldn't wait to just get those boats in and start fishing, really.
It was a beautiful lake, and I mean, I kind of was like, how do they pick? That's what we should ask Davis, and we're gonna find out because maybe we might even have Davis on the podcast one day. But it was like, how do they pick the lake to stock the Auroras in? Because Lake 57 isn't a native Aurora trout lake.
No, it definitely isn't.
But I mean, the water quality, I'm sure, has something to do with it because they're so fragile. And it was a beautiful lake. The
Yeah.
water was cold.
I
It
could
was
drink the
blue.
water.
Yeah, it was really fresh, clean lake.
Maybe it was one of those lakes that got nuked by the acid rain, and because they knew there weren't any
Maybe.
predators in there, they were like,
Stock
"Oh,
it
we'll
up.
just stock it in here."
Yeah.
And they'll be the apex
Could
predator.
be spring fed too. Like it had that sort of.
Maybe it ticks a bunch
color.
of boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like a bunch of things like, "Oh, no predators." Oh,
Number
cold.
one, we're
Oh.
gonna find out.
Yeah.
And two, if you know, send us an email, soflycrew@gmail.com. But it was really, really nice lake, and
Yeah.
we tried our darndest that first day to catch one.
And it was raining.
It was raining. It was cold, windy.
It's cold, windy, raining. And I got to shout out to Andy, our photographer. I mean, he didn't bring his raincoat and he didn't even complain. I would be complaining like a little.
I sat in the truck.
You were complaining like a little.
I was complaining, and I had a raincoat and I was warm. I actually felt great, but I was complaining. Andy's soaking wet, taking photos and cracking jokes.
Good old Andy.
Anyways,
But we fished really hard that day, and we saw another boat on that lake too when we first launched.
Yeah.
It's an accessible lake, but people understand what it is and hopefully take care of it.
I think they do.
It's pretty aware. It's that big sign, Aurora Trout Lake. It tells you the rules and everything. But we fished really hard, and we just weren't. That first day, we were not able to catch one. Late August, the fish are probably deep. We were fishing deep. We were fishing shallow. We were fishing all kinds of different systems on our fly rods and still water techniques, but we weren't able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Aldo's really disappointed looking at me. What do you think, Aldo?
I just wanted to meet one in the wild.
I know.
Yeah,
me too.
that's all.
me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. And then the second day, we went back. Roger joined us on the boats. And the same thing, man. Like all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
Different depths.
Oh man, we
Different
covered water
flies.
too.
Cover water. Yeah, I think every inch of that lake.
Yeah.
There's other people in the lake too. And
Oh, that's true.
There was.
At one point, there were 11 anglers.
All fishing different
All fishing-
sort of styles.
Yeah, some people were spin fishing. some
And it's
people
not
were
a big
jigging.
lake. It isn't a big lake.
It is not a big lake at all.
it's I think Roger put it best, a glorified pond.
yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I know they're in there. It was they were just really living up to their ghost trout. Rare, elusive, fragile. I mean,
Yep.
Well, Roger, you said
They
something
outsmarted us.
really interesting on our write up. You're like, you can fish that lake every day, but then there's that one day that you catch 2, 3 auroras, but for the rest of the season, you're not catching anything.
Yeah, the CO that comes by here all the time, he was like, "Oh, good luck." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "It's typical trout fishing, except harder.
Right.
If they're on, they're on.
Yeah.
And
Right.
if they're not, good luck."
They
It
most
doesn't-
certainly were not.
They were not.
and we're not we don't have we're not incredibly knowledgeable still water fly fishermen. That's a super it's a totally other technique. Like it's like people spend lifetimes.
Brian Chan.
Brian Chan is a great example of a stillwater angler that is just like he's written books on the stuff, and it's like, we've done a little bit of it, Aldo and I too, like out in Westport. But I mean, geez, skim the surfaces and understand.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, we used to stillwater trout at the Bing tree and did pretty well.
Yeah.
But
Rainbows, right? Different
Right.
sort of beast. So
exactly.
it was kind of like let's learn as much as we can before we come. We did, and let's try to instill as many tactics as we know might work, and we did. But it's just like you say, it's the way it goes. And maybe if it was a different time of year, if it was a different
temperature,
anything,
you know,
maybe
maybe I wasn't doing the figure 8 technique right.
you figure eight for Auroras over here. With your hands.
With my hands.
Sorry, I was just picturing like the musky figure eight.
No.
What the hell? Maniac.
No, that YouTube video that Gosworth was showcasing that little nymphing technique. You know,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you tried it too, right, Aldo?
yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
try?
Yeah, I'm not really good at it.
Yeah,
so
I'm not really
I just
good
did
at
like
it
the
either.
hand over hand thing. But yeah, I mean, we tried. I mean, we definitely tried.
Yeah.
The first day, I was like, well, we definitely could probably be fishing better. But the second day, I was like, I don't know what else you could possibly do, especially because those other boats were on the lake and they didn't get anything either. And I was like,
spin guys.
I was like, all right, well,
all kinds of stuff.
2 days.
but
We tried. It was a insanely valiant effort. I mean, that was
Yeah.
a 12-hour day we put in yesterday.
well, we had to try.
Yeah.
I mean, like
We had to,
it
of
was
course.
now or 3 years from now,
And it will be. We'll be back in 3 years.
October.
or we could come in
Come
October.
back in October.
Yeah.
Back in October.
So the CO is saying October tends to be because the water's colder.
I think that's the
Yeah.
problem is I don't think there's any Aurora trout experts. I
Right.
think that's the big problem. And I think
Right.
they're as close as you get to experts in the field. And they're saying like the very, very start of the season when it first opens there, the 1st of August is okay. And then it starts to taper off. And when it gets colder, that's when they seem to be on.
Right.
But there's no one you can pick up the phone. Try and Google Aurora trout.
Yeah.
You get some weird, like big footy type pictures of somebody holding one all blurry.
Yeah.
And you're like, I guess that's an Aurora trout.
Yeah.
There's a couple
Did you Photoshop
articles
a
where I'm
brookie?
like, wow, those are some nice Auroras. But it's like,
But I remember going to the hatchery and just seeing like the raceway full of them and big ones, and I was like, whoa,
oh man.
cool. And then seeing one come out of the water and just like their color is stunning,
Stunning.
Yep.
It really
stunning.
is.
And
Yeah.
their face is like brookie, but
Not
different.
Yeah.
It's different. It's an interesting fish.
It was just came
Yeah.
out of the water. I was like,
Man, I was like, the coolest thing is that you won't see this thing anywhere but here. You won't. It's an Ontario fish. Maybe somebody in some part of the world's breeding Auroras. Who the hell knows? But
you know what? Fuck them.
it's just amazing that this
It's
thing-
ours.
Yeah,
Sorry,
it's ours. Yeah.
It exists,
Forgot we're
and
allowed
it's
to swear.
so rare, and it's so unique
Yeah.
to Ontario. It's like truly an Ontario fish.
And honestly, Roger, thanks for putting up with us trying to catch it for
Yeah.
2 days. Yeah.
I don't know if he was so chilled, man.
Oh no, I know. But it was
Yeah.
great it was great to have you on the boats, though. That was awesome.
That was
Yeah.
fun, man.
Yeah,
That
to
was good.
hang
a fun
out and
day.
fish.
I appreciate that.
That was a fun day, and we did it all. We tried everything we could.
Yeah,
Yeah, we really
Roger.
did.
Roger was my bodyguard. From the quips of
The onslaught of
all
teasing?
The onslaught. That's a great word. Onslaught of teasing.
The Bears.
You take a lot of abuse.
Yeah, I know.
You really do.
Yeah, he really
Well,
does.
yeah, you were covering a lot. Roger was hitting him back with a bunch
Yeah.
of like,
It's not abuse, it's love.
I would love my ass.
Whoa.
Oh, whoa! I'm just kidding.
Okay. So I mean, like, unfortunately, we didn't catch one, but that happens.
I think it was that night we went back to the cabin and we're like, you know what? We need some good old hearty Elk Lake smallmouth bass, baby. That's what we need.
And Pike.
And pike.
Yeah.
And we decided we went to bed early and we woke up the next day and we went to
You mean today?
Today. That's today.
That
Yeah.
was today.
That's today. I see I'm so used to doing podcasts in the past and reminiscing. But like
Podcasts.
literally this is like in the moment. This is live from Elk Lake.
Pastcast.
Pastcast, man. This is a nowcast. We woke up and we went to our favorite lake that we went to last year, and it was cool to be back on that lake. Man.
It was great
excited
to be on the
back
lake.
that
I guess it's beautiful. It was so cool. It was like so close. I think I forgot how close it was
Yeah,
to
it
where
is
we
close.
were. Yeah, it's close.
You leave here, and 35 minutes later, you're on the lake fishing.
We were
Yeah.
saying if that lake was in Halliburton or somewhere, it'd be like lined with cottages. But it's like
Yeah.
you're so close to town and nobody's
Oh, yeah.
around.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that today because like it's a cool lake because it's tons of back bays and little channels and things. I was saying Andy and I were in a boat together and I was saying, man, this is like an easy place to get lost. And then we were laying on a rock because we put the boats up on shore at one point and we were just fishing a bay and we were just laying on the rock all of us were just chilling at one point after catching some bass and looking at the sky and I'm like, if this was Muskoka or something, like you'd just be hearing people wakeboarding, and there wasn't a single person for who the hell knows how far.
Yeah.
And it was just
Silent.
nothing.
Yeah.
You know what's so cool actually when we flew the drone over Lake 57, and I think Andy said it when we panned up, like as we had this just like the aerial shot like straight down, but then we panned up.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, "Whoa, it just goes."
It just
I'm like, yeah, the
goes.
forest just does not
goes.
end.
Yeah.
It just goes.
It's so cool. There's so much to explore up here.
There is.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I think, well, let's touch on something quickly.
Yeah.
So a lot of people come up and they see this clear cutting happening, right? They don't realize how vast the forest in Northern Ontario is. So you see all this clear cutting, but if you go up in an airplane or send the drone up, there is so much that has never been touched or
Never
it's
been
been
touched.
regenerated over 100 years. And so it looks bad, but man, they manage our forests well.
Because they clear cut, but then they, like you say, regenerate.
They
They
regenerate.
regenerate.
Yeah.
and all the wildlife that would be impacted by clear cutting just moves literally like 20 feet to the woods.
And if they don't clear cut, like last year we had a forest fire just like we thought we were going to have
Oh,
to
that's
be
right, the
evacuated.
forest
Yeah.
fires.
Yeah.
Oh my
Big
god,
fires
yeah.
last
We
year.
thought we were going to have to be evacuated. Like it was,
yeah, it was
yeah,
getting
That must
serious.
have been, yeah, pretty
it was,
scary.
It was
I
close.
remember that happening. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I remember hearing from you guys saying
And
like,
that doesn't happen in areas that have been forested in the last 40 or 50 years as a rule. You don't
Right.
get that deep undergrowth that once
Right.
it lights, man, there's no stopping it.
the roots and everything else.
Yeah.
Oh, imagine like that thick. Oh, there's all that thick moss on
Dude.
around Hubert. Imagine if that goes up.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man, on that lake today, it was like that. The moss on that lake is one thing. It's like
It's like a bed.
Yeah.
it's so old. It's like that nobody's been here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The moss is just old. It's like this is what it was like if you fished here like 100
We were
years
saying
ago.
like
Yeah.
we were saying, or Mitch was saying, or somebody was saying that like if you were opening a Bass Pro Shop and you were like dressing a set for smallmouth bass, it was like it would look like that
That's
lake.
that's
It's
the
just
image
like
you would use.
yeah, it's
absolutely.
like, oh, there's lily pads, there's down trees,
Yeah.
there's rock drop offs, there's like
every-
everything you smallmouth would ever
part of
want.
structure.
It was
And
actually
pike as well.
Everything. Man.
it was actually so funny after 2 days of not catching anything.
Yeah.
And we just anchor and we're fishing for just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like talking to Yelma, we're chit chatting, laughing. I think we're talking to Andy, and then I look over at Mitch. Mitch's rod is doubled over, but he's got his line in his mouth because I guess it was.
Yeah.
Well,
It hit
you-
right under the boat, and
Yeah.
I just had a bunch of line at my feet, and so I had a hit. A smallmouth hit pretty hard, and I was like, "Oh man, you can't let the slack out, right?" So I put the line in my mouth, and I think there's lots of people. I saw Fly Lords, and shout out to Jared. They did a post about this recently.
Yeah.
I had my fly line in my mouth because I was trying to keep tension, and then I hear Yelma Aldo's like, "Oh my Mitch, what you got a fish?" And Yelma's like, "Oh my god, he didn't even say anything." I'm like trying to fight this thing with my
because
mouth.
usually we kind of say something so we can start the
Yeah.
like getting the cameras
take a
focused and
shot or
everything, right?
whatever, yeah.
And Mitch is just there like, with the,
Yeah.
and that was just the start to an awesome day.
It's probably the only time he's been quiet all week.
Hey,
Oh, come on, baby. What you
slammed.
doing? Slammed. I got that fish to the boat, and I was pretty stoked because it was a beautiful smallmouth.
Oh, it was gorgeous.
Nice Elk Lake
Yeah.
smallmouth.
And it was like right at the beginning of the day,
Yeah.
sunlight filtering in.
It was the first spot we hit. It was the first
Those
spot.
smallies look different, man. Like they're just like darker, and you can see the little
Just healthy.
a tiger kind of
Yeah.
like look to them. Like they're just so.
It's getting later in the season too, I imagine. Well, no, you're right. Up here, the smallmouth are just darker.
They're
It's
just
that
darker.
particular
Yeah.
lake
Yeah.
though. Like
Oh,
I caught
yeah.
a beautiful walleye in there last year.
Oh,
And it
man.
was so gold. I've never seen a fish. That lake
Yeah.
produces fish of like
Yeah.
brilliant colors.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
absolutely. Remember you caught that? The grass. Oh no.
Well, I got the pickerel.
pickerel.
The pike I caught out of there last year was like the color on it was
it's
like
yellow.
ooh,
Yeah.
it's gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
How big
gorgeous.
was that walleye you got out of there?
Probably pushing 6 pounds.
Hey,
What the
Jesus,
heck, man?
Murphy.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a nice.
It's the
that's
nice.
a
It's
fish.
it's the nicest. I mean, they get way bigger, but that's personally the nicest one
In
I've
that
ever
lake?
caught in that lake. Yeah.
Jeez,
And
I would love, and you said this,
Mm.
I would love to camp there.
Mhm.
Spend like a one night out on one of those. Because the thing is, it's dotted with islands everywhere, and everyone you stop at,
Yeah.
there's fish on it.
Yeah.
So
I
you
think
could-
that would be a cool trip. Come up to Elk Lake Wilderness Resort. You stay here a night, and then you just take
Camp on
a
Hubert.
tent into the
Yeah.
woods, camp on the island, right? And then fish all day, camp into the night, and then come back in the morning. That's like an amazing trip.
it'd be an awesome trip.
It'd be
It'd
such
be an
a
awesome
good trip.
trip, yeah.
And we were talking about that today. We're like, man, why didn't we think of that? But honestly, like, there's so many islands on that lake. There,
You could spend a life
Oh man.
Well, you could spend a lifetime fishing that lake.
Yep,
you
and,
could.
And,
Yep.
and it would take a long time to figure out.
Oh yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah.
All the bays, all the islands, all the channels. We haven't even seen all of it, and we fished it last year. We fished it this year.
And
We
this year
barely
we
scratched
we
it.
hit up
Some
some
new
different
spots.
some new spots, and we got lucky.
I think we did better on the new spots than the old spots,
I think so too.
which is cool because that's like a different time of year. Then that's the other thing, right? You come up in June, you come up in August/September, I guess. It's a whole different lake.
Yeah, absolutely, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Water dropped probably 3 feet. It
Yeah.
looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like since when we were there last time in
Yeah.
June, because bass season was
Right.
open earlier up here.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, amazing lake, man. And
Yeah,
then
that's in Zone 8, so
That's
it's
in Zone
open
8.
year round.
yeah.
That's the fun thing.
It was super cool. That's what we were so excited about last year because for us it opens up like the 3rd, 4th weekend in June.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like, man, like that makes a short bass season.
Yeah.
And bass really are the most underrated fly fishing species, 100%. Like, I mean, it would have been great to get an Aurora trout, but it was a lot of work. They're tough. Trout fishing, stillwater trout fishing's tough. Like
it's a lot of
you
work.
put it perfectly, Roger. Aurora's even tougher. And when we got a couple of smallmouth on our line, it was just like it puts life back in you.
It does.
Just like, oh man, that's right.
Well, not to mention they fight like crazy
Oh,
up
man.
here.
I had a 9-weight booster, 8-foot 8-inch,
Doubled over.
on a 3-4 pound smallmouth first thing in the morning. I'm like,
Yeah.
Jesus,
That was
just
great.
Fight. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Did you guys topwater any of them?
I did.
You did.
Yeah.
Poppers?
I popped for a pike on a bass leader like an idiot, and I was.
Oh, but that was
Oh,
later on.
let's
in
get
the
that.
day.
Let's,
Oh, all right, all right.
we get on. We'll
on
get, we'll get
Hubert
to-
on that lake today earlier today we didn't
Yeah.
because we were just doing. I went deeper. I put a cone head leech pattern,
Yeah, we're kind of
deer head leech pattern on.
doing really well on leach patterns
Okay.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blacks, like browns,
Olives.
natural colors. I
Yeah.
found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense because there's tons of crayfish.
Yeah, but there was tons
exactly.
of frogs
leeches.
too. There's tons of frogs
Tons
too.
of
So I,
frogs. Tons
I,
of frogs.
I put on a frog pattern, like a little popper, although I mean one of his little bad boys there, and I was popping that for a little bit.
Yeah.
It didn't give like an actual like pop, you know what I mean? But it was like a little submergent, like it moved water. It was good, but yeah,
It was
It's on your hat right now.
Oh yeah, look at that! Whoa.
That's the one.
Boom.
Every step you take, there's a frog, and it's like, I wonder what they're eating.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
put a frog, and it's just
And then
like,
you look down, and there's just like crayfish bones everywhere.
on the
Yeah.
rocks from the birds and stuff. It's like, whoa.
Do crayfish have bones?
Yeah,
Skeletons.
that exoskeleton.
yeah.
Ooh.
It was crazy, man. But then we fished that thing till we fished that lake till about 3-4
Yeah,
o'clock,
3
and we were like, like I said, we could stay there all night. We could camp and have an amazing time, but we had this day today to be like, but we have a great memory from last year, which was fishing
Hopping
on
the
Montreal
river.
in
The
amazing boats. The
Lunds.
Lunds.
The
the
Lunds.
Lunds.
We
the
talked
Lunds,
about
the
earlier.
Lunds, yeah.
Your incredible fleet of boats. And Roger's just like, come back in the afternoon and just hop in a couple of those. And okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And last time we were here in June, it was a cold spring. Like ice out was late,
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so, although we caught pike, Yilma and I,
Yeah.
exclusively,
Exclusively.
I didn't catch a bite, guys. I caught a perch.
so did Nolan.
Oh, yeah, Nolan. Shout out
Oh, the
to
beer
Nolan.
guy, Nolan.
Yeah.
No caught a perch.
That was
man. It's a
weird.
pretty big perch too.
Yeah.
I like Nolan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's a good
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, he's
a good guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he's a good guy.
But yeah, we didn't really, I would say, tie into the pike. So we were pumped to. We had some friends come up here. Joel came up here. Joel, who
Yeah.
helped us out in our shoot in Indiana,
Yeah.
and Brad, who's a client of Drifts.
Drifts out there, yeah.
And they came up here this year, and they were seeing some pictures like the bass they were catching were crazy.
Yeah, they caught some really nice fish.
Yeah, Brad caught some nice fish.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What do you call like a
5-pound
4-pound
smallmouth?
5-pound smallmouth
Yeah,
off the dock?
cut a few of them.
Jeez, man.
good for him, man.
Sorry, you got a few 5-point.
I'm not surprised. Honestly,
Yes.
I'm not
Oh
surprised.
my
I'm not
God.
surprised. I'm not surprised. The
Yeah.
Montreal
Montreal's
River.
so sick.
There's so many
Yeah.
grassy. Anyway, so we hop in the Lunds, take off. We pass the Narrows with a beautiful railway bridge, opens up into Mountain Lake. And I remember from last time, actually, from the fishing day
With Blake.
here,
Yeah.
one of the guys being like, when Mountain Lake opens up, there's the first bay to your right,
Hit it.
hit it. And I was like, I remember that, and we were
Yeah.
like,
Mhm.
yeah, Mitch too. He was like, we're just gonna go right there. And at last time we were here, we saw a moose in that bay. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moose and her, the cow and her calf, actually.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
yeah, we did. That
Us
was pretty
both.
cool.
But that's what we did today.
That's what we did today.
And it
Like
was-
first cast,
Instantly, just like
Instantly. First cast.
first
yeah.
cast fish, and I missed
little pike,
little pike,
tons of them.
big pike. I missed a big pike.
Well, your first fish was
Decent.
So decent.
25,
It's
like a
26
26.
inch pike.
Yeah, yeah.
Totally great.
But there was one after that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
missed him big time.
Yelma had that today too. I mean,
Oh
we,
yeah, man, Yelma, what happened?
we
man?
fished
Well,
all
yeah,
along
this-
those weeds.
This
and
is the
then-
story. I mean,
guys.
okay.
Yelma was grumpy, by the way.
I'm a little grumpy. I was a little grumpy this weekend. You know, I'm
No, just today, man. You were great all weekend, but today
Yeah.
you were like, I need to catch a pike because Aldo was
Yeah.
just like hanging pike, and he almost just like, what the heck fly do I have to put on here? And he was grumpy with me.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, baby.
and I don't usually get competitive or grumpy. I'm usually pretty cool. You know.
Yeah, man,
Just,
for
you know.
sure.
Yeah, all the time.
No, I am.
What was the what? How did you
But
miss
it-
that? What was the fish?
This is my year, folks. This is like I've been crushing fish this year, from rainbows to smallmouth to
so humble.
browns and brookies with Aldo.
Smallmouth?
Yeah, man. I'm sorry, largemouth. Oh my God, largemouth.
You have had a good year.
I've had a great year.
First
So I guess
steelhead?
maybe that's why I
Yeah,
was like
first steelhead.
grumpy. It's for steelhead, crushing it. Anyway, so we're here, and I'm.
Roger's like, yeah, great.
So I had a couple pike follow
Yeah.
and whatnot, and then I had this I had my 8-weight with me, and I had a popper, a small little popper on a bass, 8-pound bass leader, tapered leader.
Didn't
and,
change your setup.
And I didn't change my setup, and I'm like, Mitch, should I just pop it? Mitch is like, no, man, because something's gonna hit it, and you're gonna lose your fucking fly. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Mitch. So I cast it in lily pads, and then they start popping, and
What happened?
You were like, man, it's we're just catching small little pike, and they're just cooked right,
Oh, that's
right
what
in
it
the
is. Yeah,
lip, right in the lip.
exactly.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
but what if it's a big one, man? And you're just like, I don't know, man. I just really want to do it. I just really want to do it. I want to change it. I'm like, all right, man. And then you did, and then about an hour after that, we've hit this really it's really drops
fishy
straight
area.
off in the Montreal.
Yeah.
Gets really deep at
Yeah.
points, right?
It does,
especially,
really deep.
especially near.
Oh, with the
Wilderness
depth finders, when you're going underneath that bridge, it's like
Resort. It's like 30 feet.
it's like 10, 14, 15, 40.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, okay,
it just
crazy.
drops
does
off,
drop.
And then it
Yes.
goes whoop, right back up.
yeah,
And
that's where the
Walleye
walleyes
City.
are.
Walleye City,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
walleyes
it
are
is.
city.
yeah.
But this was also like right on the bank, amazing, like weedy.
Again, if you were to
Oh.
dress a set for pike fishing,
yeah,
Yeah, this is it.
This
that
is
kind
it.
of
This
thing.
is it. Yeah, and so I casted it. And, Mitch, I'm not going to listen to Mitch because he's been catching the pike on the lip, and nothing's touching the
Yeah, it's
the
true.
line. So I'm going to pop
little guys.
as soon as it hits the water.
Big
Done.
mouth.
Just like it was just like a clean cut.
Wow.
I mean, like it was so clean and easy for that pike to eat your fly. I didn't even notice. And you're like, Mitch, and I look over and you're like, look, and no fly. I'm like, oh,
Also,
my
it didn't
God,
happen
man.
at all.
Yeah, no, it happened.
No, it happened.
It was clean break, and I was like, there you go. But it was a close call. It was a close call. But
There's so many fish in this river. It's crazy.
So many fish. Oh my God. Wait. This is a good story. We had some guests, Roger. About four dudes, I guess. I don't know where they're from, but they were fishing. This is their first time fishing, and they're casting those weedless spinner baits, right? And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they caught like 8 pike, and we're watching them from across the river. We're
Yeah,
like,
having a
what
great
the-
time.
They're having a great
A
time.
little
Yeah,
14
definitely.
foot.
Yeah, they're having a great time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Catching tons of fish.
It's such an easy. Yeah, this is a really good point, actually. Like, if you want to explore and if you're like, and you're comfortable with exploring, you can. But if you've never been outside or this up north, it's a pretty comfortable way to experience that wilderness.
It's pretty easy. It's
Yeah.
a pretty easy body of water to fish. So those 4 guys are from Toronto. They came up the same weekend Joel was here.
Oh, cool.
First time ever.
Yeah.
And yeah, they booked and said, hey, like, we want to come back. And they don't fish as a rule,
Yeah.
but it's easy. So
Yeah.
what do I need? I'm like, spinner baits and a spoon and have at her.
Yeah.
And away they go.
Yeah.
Catching fish.
Yeah.
How can you not enjoy the kind of evening we had too with the sunset and like the weather was great today.
I was catching pike. I was catching pike, so I was very relaxed.
Yeah.
I had a couple of fish in the boat, and I was like, all right. released, but on the board. And Yilma was freaking out. But I was listening to music and just looking at the sun and like kicking back in the Lund and just being like, this is amazing, man. This is like such a calm. The wind went away and you're under that big metal bridge and it's just like, this is amazing. This is so amazing and accessible and just easy. And yeah, I mean, it's a great way to experience the North. That's for sure. That's for sure. It's fun.
Just remember to, if you're
Change
doing
your
convention,
wire by, man.
well, if you're fly fishing, you got your wire by your fluorocarbon. If you're, you can get that leader on, okay?
All you got to do is listen for advice. Just be prepared to take the advice.
You know what?
That's it.
Oh, that's a great life lesson.
It is. Yilma, though, I like your moxie, man. I like your moxie. That's why we're partners, man.
I got some good moxie, folks.
You got some good moxie, man.
Got some great moxie.
It was a great trip down here at Elk Lake Wilderness Resort. It was
Year
a
two,
great
trip
Year
2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
Aurora trout.
Yeah.
That would have. That would.
Oh yeah, that
One
could have been
Aurora
again.
trout
Yes,
would've made it. Just
one. Yeah, that probably would have made it a lot better.
just one. That's it.
But honestly,
Just
you know
one.
what? It's like whatever. Like we had a great time hanging out on the lakes, just drifting around in those boats. It was fun. It was relaxing. We saw crazy wildlife, heard all kinds of cool, nothing sounds, just complete silence, no city sounds. It was relaxing, amazing. And then we got to do what we did today, which was just like
Bass fish, pike fish,
warm water, 2 different bodies of water, 2 different types of fishing, different boats, everything.
in one day.
Easy, convenient. Oh, it was great,
Easy.
guys.
Well, we got to
Close.
get you. We got to get you an Aurora trout this year because last year you went out splake fishing for the
Splake.
first time.
Yeah.
It was a great day.
Boom.
You got hooked up with splake.
Big
Tons
time,
of splake.
big time.
So
caught a
now
ton of
we've got to
splake.
do the Aurora trout yet.
Yeah. Well, we'll be back.
I think
Well, we've got
sounds
the
amazing.
rest of September and all of October.
Yeah.
October 15th.
October 15th. Sorry, not all of October. The season closes on the 15th.
Yeah. So we'll do it before that.
Thank you so much for having us
That's
up.
gonna be tight.
though.
It
Thanks.
was an absolute pleasure
Yeah.
having you guys
And
again.
Mary, thank you so much for having us up.
The
Yeah.
chef extraordinaire.
Chef.
Amazing.
Andy,
Chef.
shout out to Andy.
Hospitality.
Shout out to Andy. Oh, those photos. And you're going to be seeing one of those photos, folks, when we post this.
Yeah, in the
This-
next 30 minutes.
In
we're
the
gonna
next
post
30
this
minutes. Yeah,
podcast.
exactly. Yeah.
So if you're listening to this to go to sleep, have a good sleep, man. I
Yeah.
really hope you have a good sleep.
I know I'm going to have a good
you
sleep.
deserve it. Roger, is there anything you want to leave listeners with, like in terms
Yeah,
of
like where can they?
yeah.
How can they book? Where can they find
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
What?
It's pretty simple. It's Elk Lake Wilderness Resort. If you Google search Elk Lake Wilderness Resort, it'll come up, either our Facebook page. Feel free to book through that. Give us a call. The phone number's 705-679-4041. You can book right through the Google search ads, and we're good to go.
Nice.
We'd love to have you.
What do you got coming up in the next couple of months in terms of booking? I mean, you got the fall and winter coming.
We've got fall and winter coming. Fishing tends to slow down around the end of October, but we have a lot of guys that come up and do like a blast and cast. They'll come up from fish for a few hours and go grouse hunting, and
Yeah.
so
Awesome.
that works out really well.
Yeah.
So, and they'll sometimes we'll send them down towards the back lakes, and they'll walk into the back lakes with their fishing rods and shotgun, and
That's cool.
yeah, get a few grouse on the way in, and come back with a bird and a fish.
That's cool,
Nice.
man.
Love that.
And then the winter, you got snowmobiling and you got ice fishing. So if you're into that, hit them up.
Yeah, give us a shout. We'd love to have everybody up.
Yeah, Mitch said he was going to be a brusher for you this year.
I want to be a brusher.
I know.
I want to come and clean the trails.
It just scares me. Mitch with an axe.
Yeah, you should definitely be scared.
It scares me.
I don't know. Mitch has this little, he's got a little wilderness streak, It's out there.
I see that by the jacket.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah,
Well, that's my jacket, but
Tell you, roll those jeans up. You give me an axe, I'll tell you, a couple of months, and those bushes will be all brushed away.
I love it.
I'm gonna bring Yilma with me, right, Yilma?
Yeah, I'll be
Looking
there.
out for bears.
What are you going to do?
It's gonna be a bear watch.
I'll come. You know what? Listen, guys. I'll be there.
Perfect.
Perfect, Yilma. Although, where can people find SoFly stuff?
we can find all of our stuff at sofly.ca. So obviously we're going to be posting pics and videos and this podcast from this trip. So you can find all of that content there if you need to reach out to us. And we hope that you do, because some people have, and it's great to talk to you guys. The SoFly Crew at gmail.com. Our Instagram is at the SoFly Crew. Am I forgetting anything?
I think that's
Facebook,
it, man.
SoFly,
that's it.
space.
Shout
bar,
out 2 things though.
Oh, shout out a couple things. I'm drinking right now Copper Pot Select 40 Creek,
Yeah.
and that's delicious. But also we have a few other sponsors this trip,
Yeah.
Station Cold Brew. Thanks
Oh
for
my
keeping
God,
us
I had
full.
that today.
You had that? You like that?
Oh, I don't normally like the brewed coffees. That was spectacular. The vanilla one.
So good. We had
Oh my God.
we had
Vanilla's so
coconut,
good,
mocha, vanilla, and just the regular. And
Regular.
yeah, I think the vanilla is the consensus.
Everybody's favorite's vanilla for sure.
Yeah.
I got to
Yeah.
try the
So
coconut
good.
one yet. But
I
the
like the
vanilla
coconut.
Coconut's
too.
good.
Oh, they're all good.
They're all good,
but
but
the
coconut-
vanilla.
I go vanilla, coconut, mocha.
Exactly the
But,
same. Yelma.
but that's
Yeah.
like a Toronto-based company, right?
Yeah, they're
Oakville, something like that.
they cold press and all the beans in Oakville, and they're gonna start making. I can hear the crackling of the bonfire in my.
No, that's rain.
or it's rain.
Whoa.
And we're under the pavilion, and we're good.
Yo, right on, man. Cool.
But Station, this is cool. It's
Yeah.
GMO or non-GMO.
Non-GMO.
It's vegan.
Yeah.
Oh, it's vegan. Yeah.
It's
You're vegan, Roger.
I'm vegan.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we own a fishing lodge, and I'm vegan. Kind of crazy, right?
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, oh, and gluten free.
yeah.
That's
delicious.
That stuff's crazy.
It's
It's
delicious. So
awesome.
good.
I don't know how they did it.
It doesn't freak me out, and it's not too sweet.
Yeah, it's great.
And Woodhouse Beer,
Yep.
another Toronto-based company. Great, it's delicious beer.
Delicious.
Lager,
Delicious.
light lager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for listening. It's been a great year too up here at Elk Lake Wilderness Resort. And again, thank you, Roger. Thank you, Mary, so much for having us.
Yeah,
up.
you guys seem busier this year, and like just growing every year, right?
It's definitely busier. It's having a really good year.
Amazing.
That's
Couldn't be
amazing,
happier.
man.
Thanks for coming.
And thank you so much for everybody for listening to this podcast. I'm gonna go upload it right now. That's it for me, Mitch, Yelma,
Hey, I'm out. Thanks for listening.
Aldo,
Thanks, everybody.
and Roger.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening, and take care.